Did you know that reading for just 10 minutes a day can completely change your thinking?
It is a really strong claim from our sources today. But yes, the most interesting part for anyone listening right now is this. Those 10 minutes can also completely transform your English.
I read that in the source material, and honestly, my first thought was just doubt. I mean, 10 minutes, that seems way too short.
Uh-huh, right. It sounds like a trick.
Exactly. When people talk about learning a language or changing how the brain works, the usual advice is to study for hours.
Oh, absolutely.
People think they need to sit at a desk, open a heavy dictionary, and just study until their eyes hurt. So how can 10 minutes actually do anything?
Well, it sounds too easy, right? But the secret is not the amount of time in one single day. The secret is the consistency.
Ah, okay, like doing it every single day.
Yes, exactly. Small habits repeated over time build these really powerful results. Think about water dripping on a rock.
Okay.
One drop of water does absolutely nothing, but a drop of water every single day for a year, that will create a hole in the solid stone.
Oh, wow. That is a great way to think about it.
Right. 10 minutes of reading every day builds a very strong mental habit. It is actually much more effective than forcing yourself to read for like 3 hours on a Sunday.
Because then you just get exhausted.
Yes, you get completely exhausted and then you avoid books for a whole month.
That makes the goal feel much smaller and much easier to manage. Welcome to our deep dive, everyone. Today, we are looking at a really fascinating topic from our sources, which is books and reading.
And our main mission today is to explore how to learn English in a very simple, natural way.
Yeah, we are going to look at books as what the sources call silent teachers.
I just love that phrase, silent teachers. It is a wonderful way to view a book. A book never gets angry if you read slowly.
Right. No strict teachers yelling at you.
Exactly. It never judges your pronunciation. It just sits there waiting to share its knowledge with you.
But, before we get into the amazing benefits of these silent teachers, we need to look at a very modern problem.
Yes, the big distraction.
Right. Because if it only takes 10 minutes a day to get these benefits, why is it so rare? Why aren't more people doing it?
That is the big question.
If you look around today, you see a completely different habit taking up everyone's time. I mean, do people even read books anymore?
Some do, but, well, you are talking about the mobile phone, of course.
Yeah, the phone.
If you look at people waiting for a bus or sitting on the local train or just sitting at home after a long day of work, what are they doing?
Their heads are down.
Exactly. Their heads are down and they are staring at a screen. Our sources point out a very clear reality here. Scrolling has completely replaced reading for a massive number of people.
Let us look closely at that word, actually. Scrolling. Because scrolling is not the same as reading a long article on your phone.
No, not at all.
Scrolling is that automatic action. Your thumb just moves. Swipe up, watch a video for 3 seconds. Swipe up, see a picture of someone's lunch.
Uh-huh, yes. The endless lunch photos.
Right. Swipe up, watch a funny cat. It is a completely different mental state. It feels almost mindless, like a reflex.
It is designed to be mindless. The big technology companies, they build these apps to keep your thumb moving.
They want you trapped.
Exactly. When you swipe, your brain gets a tiny hit of a chemical called dopamine. It is the feel-good chemical.
Ah, so it is like a little reward every time you swipe.
Yes, because you never know what the next video will be. Maybe it will be boring, or maybe it will be hilarious. It is a surprise.
So your brain just stays awake enough to want the next surprise.
Right, so you swipe again and again.
It's just like an automatic bodily function at this point. You do not even make a choice to do it.
Oh, I know.
Have you ever unlocked your phone just to, check the weather or something, and suddenly you are looking at short videos, and 20 minutes have completely vanished?
Oh, all the time. It is scary.
You did not choose to do that. The app just caught you. And I was thinking, I wonder if this is why reading feels like actual work for people today.
What do you mean by work?
I mean, reading has friction. There is resistance.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
When you scroll on your phone, you are in a passive state. The phone does all the heavy lifting for you. It provides the bright colors, it provides the loud music, the fast movement.
You just sit back and consume it.
Right. But when you open a book, you are just looking at a flat piece of paper with black ink.
There is no music playing from the page.
Exactly. There are no moving colors. Your brain has to wake up and actually do the work.
That is a very accurate way to explain the difference in what we call cognitive load.
Cognitive load, that sounds interesting.
It just means how much effort your brain has to use. The phone requires basically zero effort, but the book requires your brain to actively participate.
And the easy choice is always to pick up the phone.
Right.
It is comfortable.
It is very comfortable.
Yeah.
But our sources explain why we really need to fight that easy temptation.
Yeah.
Putting the phone down and picking up a book offers these hidden powers that a phone screen can never, ever give you.
Well, let us examine these hidden powers. Because if someone listening is going to put their phone away, which we all know is very difficult to do, they need a strong reason.
They definitely need a reason to put the phone away.
The text outlines two fundamental powers right away. First, reading improves vocabulary. And second, it builds focus and imagination.
Those are two massive benefits.
Let us break these down one by one, starting with vocabulary.
When we talk about improving vocabulary, a lot of adult learners actually feel a little bit of fear.
Really? Why fear?
They remember being in school. They remember a strict teacher writing 20 difficult English words on the board and telling the class to memorize them for a test the next day.
Oh yeah, rote memorization.
Exactly. That is the traditional way of learning vocabulary, and it is usually very painful.
Yes, memorizing lists of words without any real context is just boring. And worse than that, it actually does not work.
No, it really does not.
You memorize the word on Tuesday, you pass the test on Friday, and you completely forget the word by Sunday.
Exactly. It is gone from your brain.
Because your brain has no real connection to the word. It is just letters on a page. There is no story attached to it.
Right. But reading a book changes that entire process. When you read a story, you do not learn words from a dry list.
You learn them in action.
Yes, you learn words in real situations. You see how people actually use them in a sentence or in a conversation between friends. The context acts like a glue that makes the word stick in your memory.
But wait, what happens when you are reading and you find a word you just do not know? This is a really common frustration for people.
It is a big frustration, yeah.
A reader hits a difficult word, and they feel like they have to stop, open a dictionary app on their phone, look up the word, and then go back to the book.
And by then, they are distracted again.
Exactly. And if you do that 10 times on one single page, the 10 minutes are gone and you're just tired.
That is a great point, and it brings up a major misunderstanding about reading for language learning. You do not always need a dictionary.
Wait, really? No dictionary?
No. In fact, relying too much on a dictionary ruins the flow of reading. Your brain is actually a very powerful guessing machine.
A guessing machine. How does that work with learning new words?
Well, let us use a simple example. Imagine you were reading a story about a detective.
Okay, a detective story. I like it.
The text says, the detective walked into the completely dark room. He could not see anything, so he reached into his pocket and turned on his luminaire to find the clues on the floor.
Dude.
Now, maybe you have never seen the word luminaire before, but look at the clues around it. The room is dark. He needs to see. He reaches into his pocket and turns it on. What is the logical guess?
Well, it has to be a flashlight.
It was
Or some kind of light, right?
Yes. Your brain used the situation to figure out the meaning. You did not need to open a dictionary.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is so natural.
You learn the word naturally, the exact same way native speakers learn words when they are children. When you learn a word this way, it connects to a visual image in your mind.
Like the image of the dark room and the detective searching.
Exactly. That image makes the word permanent in your brain. This is why books are such powerful silent teachers. They teach you English vocabulary without forcing you to study.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And the more you read, the more often you see the same words repeated in different situations.
Repetition is key.
Right. The first time you see a word, you just guess the meaning. The second time, you are a little more sure. By the third time you read that word, it belongs to you.
Yes, you own that word now.
And you can start using it in your own conversations.
And this natural learning process leads directly into the second hidden power mentioned in our sources, which is building focus and imagination.
We touched on this earlier when we compared books to phones, but I think we need to go deeper because the ability to focus is becoming very rare in our modern world.
It really is rare. Everyone is distracted.
Our attention is constantly divided. We are trying to work on a laptop while our phone buzzes with new WhatsApp messages, while an email notification pops up on the screen, while someone is talking in the background.
It's just too much noise.
Our brains are trained to jump from one thing to the next every few seconds. So, how does reading a book actually repair this broken focus? Can it act as an exercise?
Yes, it is exactly like an exercise. Think about the physical act of reading a printed book. It requires what we call sustained attention.
Sustained attention,
Right.
meaning holding your focus for a long time.
Right. Holding your mind on one single task for a long period of time without jumping away. When you read, you have to follow a line of text, process the meaning, and then logically follow the next line.
Yeah.
If your mind wanders off to think about what you will eat for dinner, your eyes might keep moving over the words, but you will not understand anything. You have to bring your focus back to the page.
Oh, I know that feeling perfectly. You get to the bottom of the page and suddenly realize you have no idea what you just read.
Yes, we have all done that.
You have to go back to the top and read it again, but this time with actual focus.
Yes, and that action, catching your mind wandering and forcing it back to the text, that is the exercise.
So it's like doing a push-up for your brain.
Exactly. When you do this for 10 minutes a day, you are training your brain to stay in one place. You are pushing back against the modern habit of constant distraction.
That makes sense.
After a few weeks of this daily habit, you will find it much easier to focus on your work, to sit through long meetings, or even to just listen closely when a friend is talking to you.
So it improves your whole life, not just your English. It is a form of mental training.
Absolutely.
We easily accept that if we want strong muscles, we have to lift physical weights at the gym. If we want a strong ability to focus, we have to lift mental weights. And a book provides that resistance. It demands your attention.
And while it demands your attention, it also activates your imagination. This is something our sources highlight as a key difference between books and visual media.
Imagination. You know, people usually think imagination is just for kids playing games.
But it is not just for children. It is a crucial skill for adults, too. It helps with problem solving, empathy, and creative thinking.
We should definitely explore this idea of imagination later when we do the ultimate showdown of books versus videos.
Oh, yes, we will get to that.
But first, there is a very practical problem we need to solve for our listeners.
Okay, what is the problem?
We can talk about the theory of reading all day. We can agree that it builds vocabulary and repairs our focus. But I know there are listeners right now thinking, okay, I understand the benefits. I want to build this habit. But every time I try to read an English book, I fail. How do I actually start?
That is the most important question, because knowing why to read is totally useless if you do not know how to start.
Right.
The source text gives us a roadmap for this, and the first step is understanding what kind of reader you are. People read for different reasons, and understanding your motivation changes what kind of book you should actually pick up.
So what are the different types of motivations that the sources talk about?
The sources outline 3 main categories. The first is reading for knowledge.
Okay, reading for knowledge.
These are people who want to learn a specific skill or gain information. They want to read about history, business, personal finance, or like how to build good habits. They are looking for facts and real-world applications.
That is a very popular category. You walk into any bookstore and the self-help and business sections are just huge. People really want to improve their lives.
They do. Now, the second category is reading for fun or entertainment.
Just reading a good story.
Exactly. These readers want a good story. They read mysteries, thrillers, romance, or science fiction. They are looking for an escape from their daily life. They want to be pulled into another world.
And then we have the third category, which is the main focus for our listeners today, reading specifically to improve English.
Right. Language learning.
Now, obviously you can read a business book or a mystery novel to improve your English. But when your primary goal is language learning, it completely changes how you approach the book. And this is where so many beginners hit a massive roadblock.
Ugh, the beginner's roadblock. It is such a common trap. What do you think is the biggest mistake people make when they decide they want to write to improve their English?
Oh, I have seen this happen so many times. A person feels very motivated. They wake up and decide, today is the day. I am going to become a reader. I am going to master English.
A very good goal.
Yes, a great goal. So they go to a bookstore or open an online shop, and because they're adults and because they want to feel intelligent, they avoid anything that looks simple.
Oh, no, I know where this is going.
They buy a huge 600-page classic novel. They buy Shakespeare or some dense political biography. They buy the thickest book with the smallest text they can find.
Because they let their ego make the choice rather than their actual skill level.
Exactly. It is entirely driven by ego. They want people on the bus to see them holding a very smart-looking book.
Aha, they want to look sophisticated.
Right. So they bring this massive book home. They sit down, highly motivated. They read the first paragraph, and it is just full of complex sentence structures and old vocabulary.
They probably do not understand half the words.
They do not. Their brain has to work incredibly hard just to decode the very first sentence.
And what is the result of all that effort?
Exhaustion. Total exhaustion. After 5 minutes, they feel a headache starting. They feel frustrated. And worse than that, they feel like they are not smart enough.
Which is not true at all.
No, it is not. But they close the book, put it on a shelf, and tell themselves, well, I guess I am just not a reader. English is too hard. The book defeated them on day one.
That is a perfect description of the roadblock, and it is completely unnecessary.
Right.
If you want to start running, you do not sign up for a 40-kilometer marathon on your very first day.
You would collapse.
Exactly. You just run for 5 minutes around your neighborhood. If you want to read in English, the source gives us a very clear 2-step blueprint to avoid this failure.
Okay, so what is the first step of this blueprint? I think a lot of people need to hear this.
Step 1 is very clear. Start with simple books. You have to drop the ego. Do not worry about looking smart to other people. Your goal is to improve your English, not to impress some stranger on the train.
That is so true. So what does a simple book mean?
A simple book means something slightly below your current speaking level.
Slightly below. Wait, that sounds counterintuitive. Do you not want something challenging to push yourself to learn more?
That is what most people think. But if you are trying to build the habit of reading for 10 minutes a day, the challenge is the habit itself, not the vocabulary.
Ah, I see.
If you pick a book that is slightly below your speaking level, you will understand 95% of the words. You will be able to follow the story very easily. And when you hit that 5% of new words, your brain can easily guess the meaning from the context, just like we discussed earlier with the detective story.
Okay, so what does a simple book actually look like in practice for a learner?
Well, it could be a collection of short stories. Short stories are fantastic because you get the satisfaction of finishing a whole story in just a few days. It gives you a great feeling of success.
I like that. What else?
Another great option is reading young adult fiction. The stories are still very interesting, but the sentence structures are more direct, and the vocabulary is modern and practical for daily life.
Another trick I have heard from people is to read a book in English that you have already read in your native language.
Oh, that is a brilliant idea.
Yeah. Or a book about a topic you already know everything about. Like, if you love cricket, read a simple biography of a famous cricket player.
Exactly. Because you already know the rules of the game and the history of the player, your brain does not have to work hard to understand the concepts.
Right. You can just focus on how the English words are used to describe those familiar concepts.
The familiarity lowers the cognitive load. So step 1 is choosing a simple book. Step 2 is managing your time. And this brings us all the way back to our opening hook. Read for just 10 minutes daily.
Why is the 10-minute rule so important? I mean, why not tell people to read 1 chapter a day or read for 30 minutes?
Because 10 minutes is a psychological trick.
A trick.
Yes. When you come home from work, you are tired. You have cooked dinner, you have dealt with your family or friends, and you finally sit down. If your goal is to read for 30 minutes, your tired brain will say, 30 minutes is too long. I do not have the energy for that. Let me just look at my phone for 5 minutes.
And then, of course, you scroll for an hour.
Exactly. The barrier to entry is just too high.
Yeah.
But if your goal is only 10 minutes, your brain looks at the book and says, well, it is only 10 minutes. Anyone can do 10 minutes. I will just read a few pages.
So the psychological barrier is very low.
Yes, you start reading, and often, after the 10 minutes are over, you are enjoying the story so much that you choose to keep reading.
But even if you stop at exactly 10 minutes, you have won the day.
Exactly, you built the habit.
That is a brilliant way to trick your own laziness. 10 minutes is nothing. You can read for 10 minutes while waiting for the water to boil for your morning tea. You can read for 10 minutes before you turn off the light to sleep. It is entirely doable.
It is very doable, but you know, even with a simple book and a 10-minute timer, there is a lingering question we really need to address.
Okay, what is the question?
Many learners listening to us right now are actively using technology to learn. They are listening to audio podcasts, they are watching English teaching videos on YouTube, and they might be wondering, why should I read a book when a video is so much easier? A video shows me the mouth moving, it gives me the pronunciation, it even has subtitles.
Yes, this is the ultimate showdown in modern learning. Books versus videos. Which medium is actually better for your brain and your language skills?
Our sources take a very balanced approach to this question. They do not claim that videos are bad. Not at all.
No, of course not. We're making an audio program right now.
Right. Both are incredibly useful, but they serve completely different purposes. Videos and audio formats are excellent for listening comprehension. They teach you the rhythm of the language, the intonation, and the correct pronunciation of difficult words.
That makes sense. You cannot learn how a word sounds just by looking at letters on a page. English spelling is notoriously confusing. You really need audio to guide you. Subtitles on a movie can also help connect the written word to the spoken sound.
Absolutely. But books have a unique advantage that visual media simply cannot replicate. The source emphasizes that books improve what we call deep thinking.
Deep thinking. We mentioned earlier that reading repairs focus, but how does it create deep thinking compared to watching a video with subtitles? I mean, does reading text on a screen not do the same thing?
It is about how the brain processes the information. Think back to the concept of imagination we talked about. When you watch a movie or a high-quality video, the director has done all the creative work for you.
What do you mean?
The video shows you exactly what the characters look like. It shows you the color of the sky. If it is a sad scene, the video plays slow, sad music so you know exactly how to feel.
Ah, I see. If it is a scary scene, the music gets tense.
Yeah.
All the emotional and visual clues are provided directly to you.
Yes. Your brain is basically a passive receiver. You just absorb the finished product.
So you do not have to work for it.
Exactly. But a book is completely different. A book provides nothing but raw text, black letters on white paper. The author might write, "The old house stood silently in the rain, looking lonely."
Okay.
The book does not show you the house. It does not play the sound of rain falling. Your brain has to become the movie studio.
That is interesting. Your brain has to render the graphics, basically.
Aha, that is a great technical way to put it. Your brain takes the words old house and pulls memories of old houses you have actually seen to build an image in your mind.
You have to imagine the sound of the rain yourself. You have to create the feeling of loneliness inside your own head.
Yes. The words are just instructions. Your mind is building the actual experience. This active building process is what we call deep thinking. It creates much stronger neural pathways in your brain than just watching a video.
You know, I have an analogy for this. I think it explains it perfectly.
Oh, let us hear it.
Watching a video is like being a passenger in a taxi. You get in the back seat, you sit comfortably. The driver, who is the director of the video, takes you exactly where you need to go.
Okay, I like this.
You can look out the window and enjoy the view. It is pleasant and easy. But you do not have to think about the road. You do not have to know the directions. If the taxi arrives at the destination, you could not drive the same route yourself later because you are not paying attention to the turns.
Oh, that is a fantastic comparison. You arrive at the end of the story, but you are not actively involved in the journey.
Exactly. But reading a book is like driving the car yourself. You have to sit in the driver's seat, you have to hold the steering wheel, you have to look at the signs on the road.
You have to do the work.
You have to decide when to turn. You are entirely responsible for the forward movement. If you stop paying attention and let go of the wheel, the car stops. If you stop reading, the story stops. You have to actively drive your way through the English language to reach the end.
And because you are the one driving, you actually remember the roads. You remember the vocabulary and the sentence structures because you had to actively navigate them.
Right.
When you watch a video with subtitles, the words move quickly across the screen. You read them fast, but you do not linger on them. In a book, you control the pace. If a sentence is beautifully written, you can stop the car. You can read that sentence 5 times if you want.
You can appreciate how the words fit together. You cannot easily do that with a video.
So the conclusion of the showdown is not that one is terrible and one is perfect. The conclusion is that videos are great for passive exposure and pronunciation, but books are the ultimate tool for deep comprehension and active learning. Books make you the driver.
Yes, books make you the driver. And speaking of active learning, we promised our listeners that this deep dive would give them practical tools for their daily lives.
Yes, practical tools are so important.
We have talked a lot about the theory of reading, the psychology of habits, and the neuroscience of deep thinking. But how does this apply to real-world interactions? If a listener starts reading 10 minutes a day, eventually a friend or a coworker is going to ask them about it.
That is true.
We need to talk about how to have a natural conversation about books in English.
This is actually a huge source of anxiety for English learners, the fear of speaking.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
A person might read well and understand everything we're saying right now, but when a native speaker asks them a question, their mind just goes blank. They feel physical anxiety.
They worry about grammar rules, they try to think of advanced vocabulary to sound impressive, and they just end up freezing.
That freezing happens because they are overcomplicating the interaction. The source text provides us with a clear example of how simple and natural a real conversation should be. We do not need to use academic words.
Let us demonstrate this for the listeners. I think a role play would be great here. I will ask you some questions about reading, and I want you to answer naturally based on the text's guidelines.
Okay, let us do a quick role play. I am ready.
Do you like reading books?
Yes, I read in my free time.
Oh, nice. What kind of books do you like?
I like motivational books.
That is great. How often do you read?
I try to read every day.
And scene. That is it. That was a perfect, completely natural English conversation.
Let us analyze why that conversation works so well. When you asked, "Do you like reading books?" a learner might panic and think, "Oh no, I must use the present perfect continuous tense to sound fluent."
Yes, they panic about the grammar.
They might try to say, "I have been partaking in the consumption of literature during my leisure hours," which just sounds ridiculous.
It sounds like a robot trying to mimic a dictionary. Native speakers do not talk like that in daily life.
No, they really do not. My answer was very simple. Yes, I read in my free time. It is direct. It is grammatically correct. It communicates the exact truth without any extra weight. The simplicity is what makes it sound fluent.
And when I asked what kind of books you like, your answer was a template that anyone can use. I like motivational books.
A template.
Yes. You can take the word motivational out and put any other word in. I like funny books. I like business books. I like history books. It is a plug-and-play sentence structure.
That is a good way to put it.
It reduces the cognitive load of speaking. You do not have to build a new sentence from scratch every time. You just use the template.
This brings up a critical point about communicating in a second language. The goal of a conversation is not to prove how much grammar you know.
No, it is not an exam.
Right. The goal is to transfer an idea from your brain to the other person's brain as smoothly as possible. Simple sentences do that perfectly. So if someone asks why you read, what is a simple way to answer?
A beautiful, simple answer provided by the source is, books help me learn new things. It is a perfect sentence. It is honest. It gives the other person a chance to ask a follow-up question like, oh, what did you learn recently? Which keeps the conversation flowing naturally.
The golden rule for speaking is just to keep it simple. Do not try to run the marathon. Just walk the neighborhood. Use the simple words you know well, and you will sound confident.
Confidence is much more important than a large vocabulary. Now, before we wrap up this discussion, I think we need to ground this conversation in reality.
Reality. Okay.
We have been talking about reading as this perfect habit. We say, just read 10 minutes a day, and it sounds so logical and easy. But human beings are not always logical. We have flaws. We build bad habits. We make silly choices.
We certainly do make silly choices.
So to make sure our listeners know that we are all in this struggle together, I have to ask you a personal question, and I need complete, unfiltered honesty.
All right. I am slightly nervous now, but ask away.
Have you ever gone to a bookstore, found a book with a beautiful cover and a fascinating title, bought it, brought it home, put it on your table, and then never, ever opened it?
Oh, wow. You are attacking me directly.
Just answer the question.
Yes, absolutely. Not just once. I do this all the time. I have a stack of books on my bedside table right now. I call it the Tower of Guilt.
The Tower of Guilt. I love that.
Every night I look at that tower. I see books on history, books on philosophy, a novel I promised my friend I would read. I look at them, I feel a brief moment of shame, and then I pick up my phone and scroll through short videos for an hour.
I am laughing because I do the exact same thing. It is actually a recognized phenomenon. The Japanese even have a specific word for it. Sundoku.
Sundoku, what does that mean?
It means buying reading materials and letting them pile up in your home without ever reading them. It is incredibly common.
But why do we do it? Why do we spend hard-earned money on a physical object if we know we're probably just going to look at our phones anyway?
It goes back to the idea of the ideal self. When you are in the bookstore, you are not buying the book for the person you are right now. You are buying it for the person you want to be.
Oh, that is deep.
You look at a book about the history of the world and you think, the ideal version of me knows about history. The ideal version of me drinks tea on a Sunday morning and reads. You buy the book to purchase that feeling.
So you are buying the identity of a reader without actually doing the work of reading. You pay money to feel smart for 5 minutes.
Exactly. But when you get home, the reality of the work hits you. To actually read the history book requires that cognitive load we talked about. It requires friction. It requires sustained attention. And the tired, modern version of you just wants dopamine. So the book sits on the table and the phone wins.
It is a very relatable failure. We want the listeners to know that if they have a tower of guilt in their bedroom, they are definitely not alone. Building this habit is a fight against the easiest technology in human history. It is okay if you fail sometimes. It is okay if you buy a book and do not read it for a month.
The key is to remove the guilt. Guilt stops action. If you look at your unread books and feel bad about yourself, you will avoid them even more. Instead, look at the books and say, that is okay. Today, I will just pick one up for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. Break the cycle of guilt with one tiny action.
So, if someone is listening to this right now, maybe commuting home from work, what is the immediate action they should take tonight?
Tonight, before you go to sleep, do not look at your phone. Put your phone in another room or across the room where you cannot easily reach it. Take one simple book from your pile. Set a timer for 10 minutes and just read. Do not worry if you do not know every word. Do not worry if your mind wanders a bit. Just let the book be your silent teacher for 10 minutes.
It is a small step, but it is the start of driving the car yourself. As we bring our deep dive to a close, let us summarize the major takeaways from our sources today.
First, recognize the trap of scrolling. It is a mindless reflex that drains your time without giving you deep benefits. Second, embrace the hidden powers of reading. It builds your vocabulary naturally through context, and it trains your attention span in a distracted world.
Third, drop the ego. You do not need to read complex literature to improve your English. Start with simple stories. Keep the friction low. Fourth, remember that while videos are great for listening, books force you to build the images in your mind. They force you into deep thinking.
And fifth, when it comes to speaking about what you read, keep it simple. Use basic templates. Communicate clearly instead of trying to sound like a university professor.
Small habits create big results. 10 minutes a day might seem invisible on day one, but over a year, that is over 60 hours of focused, active language building. 60 hours of a silent teacher patiently guiding your brain.
Our final advice to you is to trust the process. Keep reading, keep learning, and keep speaking. Do not let the fear of making mistakes silence you.
The sources end on a really powerful concept that ties all of this together. It is a thought we want you to carry with you after this audio stops playing.
You do not need perfect English. You just need confidence.
Let us unpack that final thought. Think about how much potential is lost because people wait for perfection. People study grammar rules for years but never speak to anyone because they're afraid of using the wrong tense. They build a wall of fear around themselves.
That fear guarantees failure. If you do not speak, you do not communicate. But a silent teacher, the book, never laughs at you. It never judges your speed. It just gives you a quiet space to build your familiarity with the language. And as you read those simple sentences every day, they become part of you. You start to realize that native speakers do not use complex grammar all the time either. They use simple, direct English.
That realization is where the confidence comes from. So ask yourself today, how many times have you stayed quiet because you wanted your English to be perfect? What if perfection is just an illusion? What if the only thing you actually need is the courage to say, I like reading books, and let the conversation flow from there?
Let a 10-minute habit build that courage. It might be the ultimate secret to unlocking your fluency.
The book is waiting. The timer is ready. The next 10 minutes are up to you.